can think of addiction in terms of three different major categories. There's the tolerance and withdrawal of the physical manifestations. But more importantly, there's the compulsive use. That's one big category. And then the other big category are the consequences. And those are where you're going to see the evidence of drug use. So with compulsive use, you're going to find people who are very preoccupied with either when is their next drink, or why can't I have a drink at this place, or if it's a drug, how am I going to procure my next prescription? It's the intrusion of these kinds of concerns on their everyday life instead of them being minor parts of their life, such as maybe I'll have a glass of wine at dinner tonight. That's the compulsive part of it. So when a person's behavior changes, so that when if someone is observing them and they find that their attention is drawn so much on that behavior, such as having to go to the gambling casino or the weekly poker game, and making sure that it's not missed, or the consequences such as work performance suffers, relationships suffer. Addiction is a disease of isolation. People tend to withdraw into themselves and become less entangled in the social networks that they're in, whether it be church, whether it be friendships that are formed at work, whether it be friendships in the neighborhood, whether it be relationships with a spouse or a significant other. There is an isolation that's noted, and if that happens, that's a red flag for addiction. Other kinds of consequences that pick up and are more specific, a DUI, for example, some kind of a crime committed under the influence, disorderly conduct, spousal abuse or violence in the home. Those are other things. Those are much more dramatic, but they also can point to drug addiction. Now, I want to say that there's one thing that none of the things that I mentioned are diagnostic of addiction, but they should raise red flags so that people can explore other questions, so that healthcare professionals can explore other questions to make the final diagnosis. But those are some of the commonalities. And then you're right too that there are unique aspects of each drug. For example, people who inject heroin are going to have the physical stigmata of needle injections, whether it's on the arms or lower extremities or other places on the body. That is not going to be true for the alcoholic, for example. But the alcoholic may have other kinds of physical stigmata, such as evidence of liver disease. A person who abuses stimulants may come to their doctor and they have unexplained new onset high blood pressure. It doesn't mean that everybody that presents that way is using stimulants, but it's one of the things that should go through an individual's mind as they're trying to evaluate for causes.